well. I want to just move down a bit, and I also want to. I give this away. I have a little clock here, and it's there. There it is. Okay, so we can stay on time. You got to watch the clock on radio. You know, always have to hit the top of the RID. Now let's turn to a man whose company has just totally reinvented the experience of using a car, owning a car, having accessibility to a car. And I know that from firsthand, because members of my family are members of Zipcar, truth be told, that your company has sort of zipped by the competition of traditional car rentals. And you've employed cutting-edge technology, customer convenience, and Zipcar has just re-engineered this industry. And it's really a real pleasure to welcome you. Scott Griffith, the CEO of Zipcar. How has Zipcar maintained its growth in what we see as a very challenging business? Traditional rental car companies, I know you're very different than they are. They've cut back the number of cars that are available, and the cars that are available are getting older as well.
Well, I think it starts with something that Jim said, that we think we're bringing a better product to the market than car ownership at the end of the day. We're saving people a lot of money that live in cities. A lot of people that live in cities typically don't need cars very often. So the basic idea for Zipcar was sell car ownership 1 hour at a time. So it includes gas and insurance and the car itself and the parking space that it sits in. So we make it really easy to get access to a car and save a lot of money at the same time. And that's a wonderful value proposition that compares really well to car ownership. And we, in doing that, we're sort of scrappers. I mean, we're a company, I think, a little bit like you started. We did not have a lot of money in the early days. We still don't. But we really built a culture around less is more. And we did not spend big dollars on marketing. We never have. We've relied on word-of-mouth marketing, viral marketing, people seeing our cars, little signs that we put up in the locations. So the power of the idea of such a different concept is driving most of the marketing. People just talking about, gee, I tried this new thing. You'd be surprised at how easy it is to live without a car and use public transit and walk and use Zipcar. So we've tried to keep on that same message track and build a brand. We've invested more money in marketing in the past 12 months than we have in any 12-month history in the company because we think that this is now is our time. We did not know exactly what would happen when we went into the economic downturn, but people got much more frugal with their personal income, and they got much more interested in trying new things like Zipcar as a result of that. So more and more people are selling their personal cars and using our service, and we've been using that same messaging and the same value proposition that we've been on for quite a while.
Now, you have increased your marketing expenses, but have you changed the message because of the economic impact?
The basic message has always been the same, that you can save quite a bit of money and you can live a more simple lifestyle and really wrap that with freedom. We think about freedom in the city as a way to have an easier lifestyle but still get access to a car, and that's the basis of Zipcar. We've gotten much more direct about saving money. We had some advertisements in the T, for example, that said owning a car is so pre-recession. And so, we tried to make light of something that's been pretty tough. And we can do that because we think people get it really quickly. The average Zipcar user uses our cars a couple times a month, and when you compare their use of a Zipcar versus car ownership, the cost of car ownership, they tell us they save about $600 per month by using Zipcar instead of owning a car. That adds up. That's real money in any household. $6,000, $7,000 a year is major discretionary income back into the house. So they feel this wonderful brand connection when that happens. They feel like, hey, I'm changing my life. I'm saving a lot of money, and I know I'm doing something that's good for the environment, and I'm part of something that's changing the way we think about transportation. They feel that sort of emotional connection to the brand, and we've been focused on both of those.
Okay, let's open the hood a bit. Okay, during this economic downturn, have you cut back on the number of markets you're expanding into, and have you cut back on your population, the number of employees?
We've added employees. In fact, what we've seen this year, we weren't quite sure what would happen. This was sort of an untested concept going into a recession, and especially the worst recession of my professional career. Membership has grown since Lehman Day about 35%. So a little over a year, we're up 35% in membership. Each member's spending a little less per member, but we kind of expected that. But overall, the business is up about 25%. in the last 12 months. So we've added cars as that growth has come. We chose at the planning cycle for this year not to open new cities. We didn't really want to go risk averse, but we thought that was too much risk because we weren't quite sure what was going to happen. So we chose to invest in brand and cars to elevate the membership in the cities that we've been operating in for quite a while. And that's worked really, really well. And we're poised now to come out of this downturn, or just come out of this year, even if the downturn continues next year. And we are going to start to open new cities again next year. We're much more comfortable with what the business model can do through the recession. So we're in a position now to really lead our way out of the downturn.
Now, I think you told me, 14 million people are within a 10-minute walk of a Zipcar. Is that correct?
14 million people can walk to a Zipcar in less than 10 minutes, and we've signed up about 350,000 of them. So
you still have a growth opportunity.
We've got a nice growth opportunity ahead of us.
Now, when you grow, will it be in foreign markets? Because you're in London.
We're in London now, and the new cities that I mentioned will be primarily in Europe for the next few years. Europe looks like a wonderful opportunity. We built a huge network of cities here in North America, and we think we should do the same thing in Europe. First mover advantage is a big factor for us, and so we're going to we're going to push ahead in Europe quickly.
Now, you and I have spoken also that you continue to invest in new technologies. You've added the iPhone app, and how successful has that been?
Well, the major force behind our iPhone app is sitting right here, Leslie Montla. So she and her team did a wonderful job. We did a survey last year. In fact, going into the recession in January, we did a survey of our members. And we have this wonderful brand relationship because they're members, and we can email them and talk to them and hear back from them on our Facebook page all the time. And we could see the adoption rate of the iPhone among our membership base kept going up. And over 25% of our members have an iPhone now. So, like 70% of them have a smartphone. So when we saw that, Leslie and her team really thought we really got to launch an iPhone app. And we don't just want to launch something simple. Let's do something that's really cool. And so the iPhone app we launched, you can honk the horn of the car as you walk up to it. We have a number of locations where there's a bunch of cars sitting there, and if you forget which one you're supposed to go into, you can honk the horn of the car, and then you can open the doors with the iPhone app. So it can also make reservations and do other things on the app, but that's sort of the cool factor, and people just love it. And we're just named a Time Best Travel Gadget of the Year with our iPhone app. So it was a wonderful idea, and in a downturn, to get that level of notoriety out of new technology has really been powerful for us.
Now, what was in 2007, you purchased Flexcar, one of your competitors. Is there a competitor there now out there that you see?
Yeah, there's some smaller players, and earlier this year, Hertz entered the business with a new brand that they're trying in New York. So first mover advantage is going to be our big advantage now, and our investment in technology is going to continue to be the leading factor that's going to drive our growth forward. We also know more about this business. I've been at it 7 years. The company's been in business about 10 years. We know more about the business, more about the way members behave when they use our cars than anybody else, and we're going to use information as a competitive advantage. We're going to take that knowledge, that information, and continue to go against competitors. So I think we're proving the model works. We're going to see more competition, and we knew that going into the downturn. It's why we continue to invest in technology and add fleet and really lift the membership in the cities we're in, because that's where we're going to probably have to defend our position first. So it's exciting for us to go from $2 million to about $140 million over the last 7 years. It's been a fantastic run.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Scott. I neglected to say that when I first invited Scott, he said, I listened to you. I listened to you on BC. Sure, I'll come over. But thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. Imagine, if you will, being an MIT student and calling your parents one day saying, I know I'm only like a few months away from graduation, but you know what? I'm going to take my money out of the bank, a couple of $1,000. I'm going to get my comic book collection, and I'll open a store. Now, your parents must have called you crazy, Mike Dreese.
My father was not very happy.
I bet.
Three of my grandparents were university professors, 2 chairmen of their departments at Ohio State. There is a Dreese building on campus there, so it was not necessarily a well-received Christmas dinner announcement.
Mike Dreese is the CEO and founder of Newbury Comics, and I have to tell you, Mike, you and I have talked a number of times. I am so impressed that you have found a way to succeed in what has got to be this incredibly challenging retail environment, when you see these national competitors around you either pulling out or crumbling, I can ask you a general question of how has it worked, but when did you first realize that it was bad?
It was remarkable. I mean, it must have been second or third week in September when the market started to crack. Our core sales, we have 29 locations spread in 4 or 5 states, and our sales dropped about 11 or 12% over about a 5-week period. And then they just sat there. We were terrified.
In 5 weeks?
Yes. We were terrified it was going to keep going. I had seen nothing like that in 31 years in business. Newbury Comics has never had an unprofitable month in its history. So we're about a $75 million company. So we do a lot of transactional volume at the consumer level, and it was just absolutely breathtakingly shocking. You're thinking, is this going into a depression? I just never seen it. 9/11 of these blips, they last, chunk down and then recover. This is never seen. Extremely frightening.
So what did Mike Dreese do at that point, seeing that downturn and not knowing it was going to continue?
The first thing I did is got on a soapbox as a guest speaker at my CEO's group and told them they were all going to get hit by it. And a lot of them, they were very much doubting Thomases. This was in early October. Most were in service businesses where they had annual contracts. It wasn't until maybe late November, early December, companies started to reforecast their budgets. And then CapEx totally bottom fell out in the first quarter. So then everybody, caught the flu. But the biggest thing we did was December 1st, we announced a complete cram down on staff. Very important move. Top management took 20% pay cuts, what we call senior management 10%, and then line workers took 1 to 6%. And we just, we communicate pretty openly. We're an open book accounting type company. There's not a lot of secrets. But we just crammed everybody down. So your typical employee was maybe taking 4 or 5% less home almost immediately. And that has since been restored for everybody but top management. But the idea of open and honest communication, I thought, was the most important thing. It's kind of like after 9/11, I was the first one in the company to get on a plane and go to a trade show. People just didn't want to fly. You got to demonstrate leadership in these matters. So I had a lot of senior people come to me and say, Mike, tell me what it takes. And that was very encouraging. We are a bit of a lifestyle company. People love to work in the environment we're in, or they don't, but if they do, they don't want that environment to go away. So, but I think that what I've seen in the aftermath is a deep-rooted, massive distrust of institutions, and all of a sudden, any business is an institution that has a lot of mistrust. So moving forward, if you're running a company and you're not honest with people about core economics or plans about layoffs or explanations for revisions to your HR packages and stuff, your employees, they're extremely mistrustful. People feel completely ripped off. It's almost like if you're a Harvard alum, thank God I'm not. I'm at the trade school down the river. But imagine you just wrote a check for, $5,000 as a stretch gift, and then you realize these hyenas that were managing the fund in good times raked out, hundreds of millions in management fees, and in bad times, like, oh, sorry, your portfolio dropped 31% or whatever the number is. I mean, the public's not that stupid, so in the end, they're kind of like, who are the people that control all this stuff? I did the right thing. Imagine you're living in Las Vegas. You put 20% down on your house 3 years ago. You're now 15% underwater on the whole thing. I mean, that's just a breakdown of a societal system of trust. So I think it's extremely important for top leadership to get out there and speak to people, speak your heart, be transparent, because you need to regain the trust of your staff. It's a huge morale issue. If you have that trust, it's like a competitive saber. You can slice through all kinds of things with. If you don't have it, as soon as good times return, those people are going to bail to some place they trust. So I don't think any company is immune from the trust factor.